Uh, my name is Omo Nyame for all those that wanna know. Got a YouTube stepping Insta that I named the Omo Show, where I clearly spit the flow, show you around the life I chose. So add me if you wanna see how far the story goes. Peace, family. Welcome to the Omo Show. I'm Omo, the Afrocentric creatress, here to raise the vibrations of the entire Black nation. And because today is Monday, Melanin Monday, I really wanted to come to y'all and give y'all my DNA test results. This is something that I talked about in some of my previous videos. When I talked about African names, I talked about it when I talked about religions and my spiritual practices. I done brought it up a few times, so I just wanted to share with you all my actual DNA test results, break it all the way down to y'all. Before I did that, I wanted to tell y'all exactly why I think it's important for Black folks to do this, especially Black folks, everybody, but especially Black folks. We need to realize that our history, everything about us has been taken away from us. When we were enslaved, we didn't have any knowledge of self, any knowledge of where we came from. And even today, we believe that our history is only here in America. Many of us know nothing about the African blood running through our veins. You understand what I'm saying? So in order to feel more connected to my ancestors, in order to feel more connected to just my history, in order for me to research my history more, to have a stronger foundation, this DNA test was necessary for me. It was absolutely necessary. Most people don't know, but I took my DNA test when I was a junior in high school, and that was before I would even say that I was on my journey of enlightenment. Clearly I was on my journey because I was seeking myself, but I wasn't on my active journey. It was just information that I always thought was important to know. I always did want to know where I came from. That was me growing up. I always did seek myself. I always asked about the history of my family, the history, like what my mom was like, what my dad was like. I used to always want to know these things because I guess I did always feel like it was a way to feel closer to the people that weren't there. That's a whole nother story of me not having my parents in my life. But regardless, we on this video right now. I took the DNA test when I was a junior in high school, not a junior in high school, a junior in college, not even knowing the impact that it would have on the rest of my journey moving forward. And I honestly don't even know how I would get to this point right now if it wasn't for me actually just investing $99 to get this test done. Most people need to realize that it is only $99 of an investment to know about us. And I need us to understand that this is not a privilege that our ancestors had. They didn't have just, oh, I can just go online, boop, 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 this is my information, send me a package right quick so I can spit in a tube and you tell me where I'm from. They didn't have that privilege, and they surely didn't have the $99 to do it. And given that many of us do, and we spending our money on clothes and shoes and even going out to eat or whatever, you can invest $99 in yourself. There's really no reason at this point for us not to have knowledge of self unless we are choosing to stay uninformed about who we really are. So I just really wanted to say that first, y'all. Let's get into it. All right. So when I first started, the site wasn't necessarily set up like this. Just so y'all know, I use Ancestry.com. Not everybody uses Ancestry. It's other different sites. And I'll tell you what I like about Ancestry or what I don't like. I mean, it's really not too much that I don't like as much as I've just seen the other DNA tests. They might break it down even more for you. I think that there's even now one that's solely dedicated to Blacks, you know, finding out, or Africans finding out their history and identity. And I would assume that if an African or people of African descent, if it's specified for us, then it would go more in depth with your tribes and different things like that that you are from when it comes to your African blood. So anyways, this is my DNA test. This is just a basic breakdown. I don't even think y'all can see that. There you go. So this is what mine looks like. This is my pie chart.
African blood 77%, European blood 20%, American blood less than 1%, and West Asia 2%. And the way you can do this too, they have a plus sign, like it shows you the majority of the places that you get your African blood from. And then, so mine is Benin, Congo, and Mali. I have 30% blood from Benin. I have 20% blood from the Congo. I have 13% blood from Mali, 4% from Nigeria, 4% from Ghana / the Ivory Coast, 3% from Senegal, 2% from the African Southeastern Bantu, less than 1% from the Africa South Central hunter-gatherers. What's special is that they'll let you know, basically, if I clicked on each one of these labels or each one of these places, it will give you the history of those places. That's one thing I do like about Ancestry.com. It gives you the history. It talks about the slave trade. It talks about where these boats traveled to after that. It tells you pretty good information about the people of that land and also the history and how it might connect to you. I think they got even better with it over these past couple years. This is my first time, like I say, really going to this site since I got my test results or whatever. So I'm seeing that they really did add a few elements to it. So Europe, 20% European blood. And for those who don't really know, I'll break it down. So as you can see, it says Great Britain, I have 11%, Ireland 4%, Scandinavia 1%, European Jewish 1%, Europe West 1%, Europe East 1%, Iberian Peninsula less than 1%, Italy, Greece 0%. I don't know why they put that there if it's 0, but whatever. Americas, they say that I have less than 1% Native American blood. Most black folks have been told throughout their history that their family has Native blood. And I've been told that too. Like, I was told that my great grandmother was Cherokee. I don't know how to explain why this only says less than 1%, other than maybe the people of today who are considered to be natives of this land don't necessarily share the same DNA of the first natives of this land. That's really the only thing that I can think of, unless we want to say that our people just been lying to us all this time and saying that we was native blood and we really weren't. But to me, that doesn't even really make sense. I don't think that people would just lie about that, especially if it's just that close in our history. I could see if it was our great-great-great-grandpa, something. But for my great-grandma to have been Cherokee, that is my grandma's mom. And my grandma has told me that her mom was Cherokee. So I don't really know. I don't know how they found that out. But hey, moving forward, West Asia, as y'all see, 2%. And if we click it, it says Middle East, which is 2%. So some things that I've learned with my DNA test. So like I said, this DNA test has helped me to be able to find myself more. I've been able to put pieces of my history together that have been taken away from me. No, I have not went far to have them trace back to dates and history and stuff, because that costs extra money. It costs even money for you to get your hands on records of the people within your family. Yes, they'll show you, yes, I found this record of someone who could be related to you, and you confirm whether or not they are, or if you think they are, and then they'll tell you it's a price that you have to pay just in order to obtain those records. I didn't do all of that. What I did was I just used my DNA test to kind of put my history together. So if people knew, if I wanted to know how colonization played a role and why I only have 77% African blood, or why I have the European blood that I have, all I do is I look up Benin colonization, I look up Congo colonization, and I see who colonized these places. I look and see where these people went and stuff like that, and who was the colonizers of these regions within the Americas. The reason that I know majority of my European blood comes from slavery is because, as people can see, majority of it is from Great Britain. It's 11% that's from Great Britain. And for me, the way it connects to me is that the British were one of the main groups who did colonize America. Even some Irish people had slaves, and that's 4% blood that I have. I have 4% from Ireland, and I have 11% from Great Britain. I just know for a fact that majority of it came during slavery, given that 11% is from Great Britain. This is the history me put it together. Also, I've been able to... okay, so let's talk about the Middle East. As we all know, well, I hope we know, the Middle East is really Africa. Today, they just don't call it Africa, but it really is. Middle East is including Egypt. And most Africans who become aware of their self, they see themselves as being somehow tied to this Egyptian history, like this great history, these great dynasties. For me, you always got to see what connects to your spirit. But for me, I connect to that history too. And for me to see that I have 2% blood from the Middle East, to me, that tells me that down my bloodline, there had to be somebody that was in Egypt. There had to be. And I believe that there were. You know, just your instincts. Once you become more dedicated to your spirit, you just know. And you don't have to have people tell you. But given that this DNA test even says 2% blood from the Middle East is still Africa. I assume that the Middle Eastern region that I get my African blood from, that I get my Middle Eastern blood from, would be in the area of Egypt. So, you know, I know that I'm a part of this Egyptian history. I was probably an Egyptian queen in my past life, or my ancestors were, however you want to look at it. So, that's my DNA test, y'all. I love that I took one. I love that I did it. I know many people, they are just a little afraid of doing it because they believe like, hey, well, now they got I don't want the system to have any of my information in my DNA, or, you know, I don't know. It's like people have these ideas of conspiracies around the DNA, but I just need people to realize that it ain't like you go into a place and they see who you are and you're like, yo, give me a DNA test. No, you write your name down. You just put in all your information in the system. You tell them your address. They send you a tube to spit in. There's nothing else that's determining your DNA but that tube that you spit in. You understand what I'm saying? So it's necessarily like, it's not really too many ways they can lie or that they can conspire against us when it comes to us spitting in a tube. I don't really know, but that's just my personal thing. Don't be so concerned about what the system is trying to do to break you down. This information is necessary for you, you know, so don't allow them or the fear of them to stop you from getting what you need, which is to know your bloodline, to know your ancestry. I think that that is super important. As I said in my video yesterday about religions and my spiritual beliefs, even me knowing what it is that I connected to on a spiritual level, me practicing voodoo or me believing in those ideas comes from my bloodline. Like I say, Benin, Nigeria, Congo are connected to voodoo. They are connected to the reason that voodoo is even what it is today in the States. So for me, it connects to me. Dance moves, like I do African dance. You know, you just start to realize why certain dances, why certain spiritual practices, why certain names, all of these things might connect to you more, you know. And for those who don't know already, the reason that I have the name that I do, Omolara Azamino, I pick my name based on my DNA test. I pick my name based on where my bloodline ran, rather than just picking an African name that had something to do with some country that I'm not even from. I think that if people are trying to move forward into reclaiming their African selves and its genuineness, you know, a DNA test is just necessary as a foundation. So that way, as we move forward, you know, you can use that information to create the life that you want to live. Omolara comes from Benin, but it also comes from Nigeria. Omolara in Benin means born at the perfect moment. In Nigeria, it means child is family. When I chose the name, I meant it to mean born at the perfect moment. But spirit just made it so that it connected to me in both ways. To say the child is family, which is the Nigerian meaning of the name, that's a whole nother story about my names. But regardless, that even sticks with me because I have been family to everybody who I've met. Like I said previously in this video, I didn't grow with my parents, and just growing up in life, people have loved me, people have taken care of me, people have supported me that were not my family at all, but they treated me as family. So it's just funny how when you find just a piece of yourself, everything becomes clearer. So I am really here to promote us just finding out who we are by taking the necessary steps. Let's stop spitting knowledge from Kemet and only Kemet as if that history is the one that relates to us most. If we get a DNA test, you can actually see what relates to you most and do your education around that. You feel me? All right. Y'all got any questions? Let me know. Any concerns? Let me know. Any video topics that you have ideas about? Let me know. If you want to comment, you want to like, you want to subscribe because you think this channel might be a good channel for you, please do it below. And I love y'all. I think that's it. Peace, love, black power all day, every day. It ain't no other way. Okay?